correct?
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Okay, perfect. So, I'll just give a bit of a rundown of what it's basically it's gonna happen. Like 80% of your gameplay on Ashville. Obviously, you got your rollout. Your medic in, wants to do heal priority demo, obviously, and then want to use scout's movement speed to get a head start of the team, so that they can meet the demo when he does his second jump here. And your demo is just gonna walk straight for an arrow here. Ideally, your scout doesn't block the arrow and like rolls out to the side here because they just have the same movement speed. It's not gonna do anything bad for the rollout. And yeah, that's what the the rollout should be for medic, because after you arrow demo, you're gonna be looking behind you and you're gonna be buffing all the other players. Priority buffs obviously go to sniper, heavy, and soldier, because soldier's gonna bomb, heavy's gonna need as much health as possible to survive, and sniper's gonna need 185 to challenge the SVS. And then everyone else is next for buffing if you could reach them. You don't want to slow down to buff everybody. If you don't buff everybody, it is what it is, because then you eventually will meet around the same time here and meet for the midpoint. The midpoint's gonna be very chaotic for like almost every time in Asheville. Um, it's one of the mids in the cough for Highlander. That's definitely gonna be the most like, it's weird to say, but like uncontrollable control mids, because basically, what you're all doing is you're all rolling out about the same time as they roll out, and you're all gonna meet at the shutter. And the only way you guys are really gonna have a successful Asheville mid is by walking forward and shooting at what your demo and scout is calling for damage, because the faster you kill numbers on their end, the faster you're going to kill them overall, and then the faster you're going to win the mid. You're going to have casualties on both ends, whether sniper just peeks out and gets a big headshot on your medic. If your medic dies early in the Asheville mid, you want to try to salvage by sacking in for their medic, but you don't always want to do that, because there's times where they're just generally low on health and you could probably overtake them on the mid even if you lost your medic. It's just kind of like a last minute resolution to do when you lose your medic, because if you guys lose the mid and you guys lose your medic, you guys are going to have disad, which is going to make it a little bit harder for you guys to refight the point. After all that's said and done, I mean, specifics, scout, you want to walk up with your demo and shoot where your demo's shooting, and then at like this point where I'm standing, you don't want to overcommit to kill. You want to look to the left side, because soldiers always are going to bomb over the roofs here. They're going to bomb over the roofs to do as much damage as possible for anyone sitting in ramp because they took too much damage, or medics here and snipers here. They're going to try to make a lot of chaos, so it's going to make it a little bit difficult. And scout and pyro should be looking for the soldier. After the soldier dies, they could look forward and shoot where your demo's shooting. But I'll go over callouts as we go, since we don't have much time. After the mid, let's say if you lost the mid, because that'll be easier to cover first. You guys are gonna be rolling out, and if if the mid is lost, you got someone has to call that the mid is lost. That way, anyone still in from the fight is not like lingering here at this left side lobby slash ramp, or right side lobby slash bats. Because if you guys stay like too forward and they won the mid, they're going to take their time to walk forward and take space. And after you guys lose the mid, you guys have to all agree to meet at a certain point to get crit heal buffs, so you guys could get ready to execute your plan. Usually, the plan is, if they don't have space and they're just chilling on point, you guys are gonna spawn on the right and you're gonna roll out to bats here. I think I covered with your medic last week that to not get sniped, because snipers really like to hold at that crate over there when they have point to try to get a cheeky snipe. Just be careful of that when you roll out. You're gonna be rolling out to the right side here onto the stairs to bats, and you're all gonna get buffs. If and you're gonna do one of two things. If your medic died and you guys didn't kill their medic, you guys are gonna convert it into a sack wave. You want to buff as many players as you can, but not take too long on the buffs. And you guys want to call a time, so you guys could just send as many people as possible to try to force the medic or potentially kill the medic. if the medic's in a too safe of a position and you guys notice that, you guys could just sack for other players that are really important, like Demo Man or Heavy or Pyro. Any combo members, Sniper's a good pick too, because those will help on you guys refighting when you guys regroup after the sack. When you guys are sacking, you want to send as much as 7 people for the sack. You want to have one person with your medic leaving to spawn. Your medic, when a sack wave is being happening, wants to play inside bats here and walk with either like NG or Scout or Pyro. Ideally, whoever's just closest to the medic. That way, it doesn't make it too complicated. And your medic and that person goes back to spawn to keep the Uber. That way, they don't get any big ideas and like rush your medic, and then your medic dies again, and you have to repeat the cycle. So that's what you that's what you do when you guys have disad. If you guys are even on Ubers and you guys are taking bus bats, you want to get ready to push from both sides. So like in any map in Highlander, you're gonna have a combo side and a flank side. This is your combo side on bats, where everyone's gonna get buffs, including the flank. And then when the buffs are given to the flank members, you're gonna go flank side. Um, there's a lot of different ways you could take the flank. uh Sniper ideally wants to get buffed and call their soldier and NG to walk with them left side. That way they could get the space they need to peek and provide pressure for the combo side. um so yeah, flank players like soldier, NG, sniper. Sniper is a little bit more situational. He could play that left side if he could get the space to peek. If he can't, he could try to peek shutter and ask for the heavy to heavy that usually plays on the stairs here to open the shutter for them. Um, and yeah, like you just ask heavy, can you open the shutter? Yes, and then you peek the shutter, try to get any picks. And if that doesn't work, the other side you could play is bats here. Bats doesn't really work unless they're playing their sniper on the opposite side when they're holding. But you have to your spy needs to call that, because uh a lot of what you're gonna decide as a sniper player is basically what your spy calls where their sniper is, because you want to kill their sniper so your team could get space. So yeah, that's sniper, and then obviously the flank. If you don't have sniper with you, you don't want to overcommit unless your combo's ready to commit from bat side, which I'll cover right now. So like soldier and NG, you just stay put. NG, you could be a little bit more flexible and just follow your sniper unless it's shutter, because he already has heavy with him. But after the flank is set up with their buffs, now it's the combo side to peek out and provide pressure so both sides could push at the same time. So you guys are even on Ubers, you could take one of two Ubers. If your spy is on their side, or you guys just have the information that they're holding like close, like right here on crate or on point, you guys could take an Uber through Shutter here with Demo and Scout, because it won't be as bad as an Uber because they're closer. Ideally, you want to use the Uber right before the shutter opens, because most demos like to put traps on top here or on the bottom or like on the side of secret, and sometimes heavies like to play in secret. So as soon as your demo calls to use, you want to use it right before the shutter opens. That way you could get um your team like invulnerable and pressure them to use. That's if they're close though. If your spy or someone else calms that they're playing a little bit more like passive, like ramp here by this corner, and they're playing like their side of point, it's better for your demo and your pyro and scout along with medic, which is basically the combo, to swing out from here. I mean, be careful of these traps here if you try to swing out from here, because sometimes demo also likes to put traps here. But basically you either go from here, uh, and unless you're scared of the traps, you can go wide here. And your demo wants to start pressuring the rooftop, because there's always going to be rooftop players, whether it be pyro, whether it be scout or engineer. There's going to be rooftop players, and you want to spam them out so you guys could get more space. So as a demo, I'm gonna be looking up here, spamming a couple of stickies, trying to force them out. If you get no damage ticks, then you could convert your spam into by crates if they're playing it, and then you're basically like swinging out. It's a little bit like, I guess, awkward as for demo here, because you're peeking more sightlines, but you just have to trust in your flank side and your shutter side to peek with you too. I forgot to mention the exception for the combo and flank rule is heavy. For heavy, he's just gonna be buffed here and get ready to peek from shutter after his combo walks out. The combo side's gonna be pyro, scout, demo, medic. So yeah, when your demo is pressuring here, and you could see that your demo's already like on the fans, as pyro scout, you guys gotta drop down. If I'm you guys, I would look down here real quick to make sure their heavy's not playing under and doing any funny business. Make sure that you check secret too if he's playing there or if he's being a little bit more of a rat and playing under your own bats. Then your demo's gonna call to use because your demo's gonna drop down and basically like be at this point with your scout. You could do a demo scout to try to get a quick pick right before they use, but if they're very reactive and you can't get any picks, it's best to just keep it on one person, which ideally is demo, because even if he uh has invulnerable targets in front of him, he could shoot behind them essentially and just basically make more space for the team. Then you do your little Uber exchange. Flank is should be very attentive of like walking through ramp here after your combo does all that effort, like getting on the rooftop as soldier perhaps and waiting for the Ubers to end so you could bomb in, engineer, get set up here by toxic, and just basically everybody as a team just push forward with that exchange happening. Uh I should mention you should be walking forward after the exchange has ended. You don't want to walk in as soon as the exchange is happening because then they'll see you guys as alternative targets and then you guys are going to be the center of attention in terms of receiving damage. So it's very important for your medic or your demo, whoever's taking the Uber, to call when the Uber's ending. That way everybody knows exactly when to peek out as a team. When all is said and done, after you guys do that, eventually you guys will um outnumber them with picks or just take the space more than they do and they have to back up. And then we could talk about how you guys hold the point. So this applies after the mid, after you guys won. Just be very attentive of who you have after the mid. Like let's say your medic is dead or your heavy's dead and you can't do some of these holds because those players are dead. But let's say you guys won the mid and you have all your players. Depending if you wipe them or not, you're going to be capping this point and you're going to be playing forward here. Your demo is going to be playing right here, like um peeking out bats, making sure if he could get some space. Um Sniper, you could be cheeky, you could peek the shutter here and hold this angle, maybe sniper peeks that and then you get him for free. Or you could get onto the crate here and then you could peek from bats if they're rolling out bats. If I'm the flank here, I would look at their ramp here because you could see a lot. There's a lot of information you could give to your team here. This window is open, so you could call if the enemy combo's on bats if your combo's not playing that forward, or if they're rolling out through main shutter here, or right side lobby. The calls are pretty directional. The only specific calls I could really say is bats, which is this whole area, ramp, uh, shutter, secret, under bats, under. These three barrels are toxic. This is fans. And that's basically it. If you're on either team and you're like facing the area here, this is left lobby, this is right lobby. The stairs where heavy is gonna be playing most of the time on like resets is stairs. So like this is still considered left lobby. Up to here is when it's called ramp. This is and these two are the roofs. And those are essentially all the calls. But going back to what I said, if you guys wipe their team and you guys want to play aggressive, you got to make sure that you call to play aggressive and you start peeking out here. Your sniper could peek here or peek from the crate. And you're basically just holding this as long as you can until they basically get their numbers and push you guys. So yeah, if you can't hold aggressive, you're holding on point. This is like your bread and butter hold. You want to have your scout here spotting. You don't have to overcommit to this roof as a scout because obviously sniper exists and he could probably dome you if you get too greedy. But you could just like be a nuisance. If you have a flying guillotine or rap assassin, just spam. call where sniper is. It's very important where sniper is on this map because it dictates how you guys play in a positional sense. If sniper's dead, you have so much more freedom to like be on the right or the left or the middle. But if sniper's up, you have to say where he is so your team can play accordingly to the sight line that he's not peeking. So yeah, if I'm a scout, I would hold here. Pyro, I would alternate between roof here and toxic. Obviously, you have a bigger duty here when you're a scout because you prevent a lot of the projectile spam that will deny your scout from getting spammed to death on this roof. But you also need ammo, which requires like a dispenser being put. And if the dispenser's not put, you're gonna be going to this ammo pack a lot. If I'm heavy here, I'm playing crates, and depending on how aggressive my team is holding, uh the is how aggressive I will hold crates here. This head glitch is very strong. You can get a lot of damage output without giving out or without receiving as much on your own here. And sniper, you could play like with your combo here on toxic if spies being a nuisance to you, or you could play a little bit more out here to try to do the SVS, or maybe play fans. But I don't recommend fans as much because you're very isolated. If you're gonna play fans as sniper, you gotta make sure NG's with you, or else you'll probably get bombed or stabbed. But this is like the normal hold, right? If I'm soldier and if I'm on the flank, the most I'd go is right here. As soon as they have their soldier and they're coming over here to meet you, I would back up. It's not a winnable fight for you to take because for the most part, they're either gonna have sniper with them, the enemy soldier, or the enemy engineer, and that's just not good. The most you could do here is just be, a little bit annoying with your spam and just spot like how close the combo is on the enemy's end, which you could see it from this window. Also, spy. This is like also a very nice angle to just like gather information and tell your team where their combo is. But yeah, if I'm soldier, I'm not gonna overcommit on their ramp, right? I'm gonna back up to here, and if they have even more space, because obviously when I'm standing here and I'm spamming as soldier, I'm exposed to the enemy bat sight line, which then I would back up, uh, all the way to over here. This spot I really like as soldier. It's like up on this metal fence. You can't really peek sniper if you're standing right here unless he comes out from ramp, and you could still be ready to bomb when the exchange happens. Engineered, you're playing a little bit more combo centric, putting dispenser for your team here, but you're mainly going to be where your sniper's going. It's just how it is for the most part in higher divisions. Like engineer is going to be sniper's bodyguard for the majority of cough, and you just need to be attentive to where your sniper is and where he wants to peek, and just cover him if spies lurking on him.
I'm a certified sniper brown noser.
Perfect. Then you have nothing to fear. Um, so eventually they're just gonna get the space they can, whether you guys lose a couple numbers, and they're gonna do exactly what I told you or what you would do. When you're pushing out of bats to take an Uber exchange, you want to keep it. You want to try to not milk the Uber, but at the same time, not pop unless you know that they're there. If your demo calls to pop is medic, then it is what it is. Pop. If it's a good pop, good. If it's a bad pop, it is what it is. But basically, you just want to have a longer Uber than them, because if they have a shorter Uber, then their refight's gonna be worse because you guys have more invulnerability time. You guys have probably better HP because they're making the effort to deal damage to you, which means they're receiving damage, uh, trying to push out. And if all things said and done and all things go good, you guys should be able to hold it like that, and you could rinse and repeat what I told you on based on the numbers that they have versus what you have. So if they wipe, for example, or the majority of the team's gone, you guys go back to forward holding. And yeah, I mean, some teams will be really weird. Like for example, setting their combo to ramp here, it basically isolates them if they try to repush the point from this end, because they could get bombed from this side over here very easily by soldier, and the demo could just spam onto ramp there. It's just a lot of damage that they take, but it's very important if they do it for it to be called, because if it's not called fast enough and they're already out through ramp, then you guys have a bigger problem because they could actually deal pretty significant damage to you from that range. So it's just really important overall for you guys to understand like where their combo is and when they're going to push, and that'll help you decide uh when to like Uber and when to refight. Um, I think for what it is, that's the majority of Asheville 101. Like, if you have Uber ad, you could take it through Shutter here, without worrying about the positioning. But it's better if your spy calls like how far back they're playing when you guys have Uber ad, because you want to get kills with your Uber so you guys could delay them longer. So like if they're like super passive here, which I should mention, if you guys are on disad, the way you guys want to be holding this point when you have it and you're on disad, your medic wants to play at the Shutter here, like getting ready to leave. Your pyro's with your medic because they're gonna run the sack wave that I told you. And you know, like they're gonna send everyone. They're gonna send as many people as possible to try to get your medic. Um, if they're smart and they know they can't get the med, then they'll focus other people. But you guys, that's just a matter of when you guys can notice that, and then like position yourselves differently when your goals are different. But yeah, if I'm a medic here and we're on and we have ad, they're gonna sack. So you're gonna be playing Shutter here. You're gonna be calling that your heals are Shutter. That means your combo knows that you're playing Shutter, and they won't get as much healing output holding here. They have to be ready for to stop the sack or just live. And you need to be playing in Shutter. When they sack, Spy's gonna decloak probably from this corner. He could decloak from up top. He's gonna try to do things to kill you, but your pyro's gonna be with you, and you just gotta call where you're leaving. That way your pyro can know and then assist. Then, if all things go well and the sack happens, then you guys could come back in and hold the point if you have the numbers. If too many people die besides the medic, or if the medic dies, what you could do if your medic dies when they sack, let the play more passive, right? Let them come in with their beam because they have ad. But the way that cough is played for optimal like time, when you guys have the point and you lost your med, you guys should not fear your lives, because if you guys go into them and kill as many people as possible, or even better, kill their medic, they won't cap the point. The reason why they won't cap the point is because it will delay the player's spawn, and it'll make a longer spawn. If they delay it, even better for you guys. That means they have less people for a longer period, while you guys have faster people from the faster respawns from losing the point, and you guys could refight it. But the best way to like maintain your time and have the most successful holds on Asheville is basically when they come in and you guys are playing passive, you guys all in and try to kill like either people like out of position, or their medics like really in like the point and out of position, and get those like key picks, because they won't want to delay. They'll wait the 10, 15 seconds, maybe even 20 if it's a late death, just to not delay their spawners and cap the point. And yeah, that's it's just basically a back and forth tug of war. The worst thing you guys could happen to you, the worst thing that you guys could happen to have when you guys are losing Asheville is you guys lose the point, you guys all have to back up and reset, but you guys are like peeking out, right? Because you're like, you want to know what's up. Like, oh, I want to do damage or whatever. And then you die when the push hasn't been done yet. And then, that leads to what I mentioned a couple weeks prior, which is staggering. You guys never want to stagger when you don't have point on Asheville. The longer you guys take to regroup, and the longer you guys take to get healthy to make an effort, especially when you guys have when your medic keeps dying, the longer it's going to take for you guys to cap or try to get a successful retake, which is not something that you have on cough. Your time is limited. It's 3 minutes, and you guys have to make sure that when you lose the point, you guys back up and don't overcommit like for anything and die late. So yeah, the worst thing, you're having this issue if you're essentially just staying on bats the majority of the time you're playing Asheville. So like I said, just be efficient with your time, right? If you guys lost point and you're at disad, your medic died, call a sack wave. Get your buffs. If everyone doesn't get buffed, it is what it is. Try to buff as many people as you can so you guys can make an effort. Your spy could call where the beam is, like how passive they are, because if they're super passive because they're afraid of the sack, you guys could get closer before you sack. You don't have to like do it like right here. You could get closer and then have a better sack. But yeah, you make use of your time on the downtime. That way you are given extra options, extra opportunities, because the only other opportunities you're gonna have is from your pick classes like sniper and spy, but that's not always a guarantee. There's strategy to do on the downtime that'll help you have a better success chance of retaking the point. And then likewise, when you have the point, it's just about like information on where their combo is and information on like spy and sniper. If you guys could shut down their sniper and spy well, you guys don't have to worry about things that could kill you from like different circumstances, like just raw damage from combo. If you call where the combo is and how close they are, then you could dictate when you have to use the Uber and have a better exchange than them. So, I mean, yeah, like that's just basically what I'm getting at. When you have point, just get as much information, understand where you guys are playing, call where you're playing, and make sure to count the Ubers so that you know it's like even. If you guys have ad and they're playing close here, you guys could use into them. If you guys don't want to, stand with ad on shutter all the time, you could call your demo and scout in, and then you could use through the shutter here and just like tear them apart while they're like not having Uber here. That's another option. But I think for the time that I have, I think that's as much as I could cover about Asheville. Is there any questions specifically, like classes or calls or anything that you guys need to know?
I think I'm
I
fine
have
for now.
I have a question.
Sure, man.
So my name is Poop Maxing, and as the name implies, I was on the toilet actually, having a really bad stomach ache during this map review. But I've had Asheville map reviewed to me like 4 times by 4 different people.
Okay.
I'm the pyro for this team.
All right.
Do you have any blunt suggestions, specific plays, pet peeves that you notice pyro's doing? Like let me hear it.
All right. Pet peeve, definitely detonator spam. Detonator's really good on pyro, and you could get away with certain things with that spamming. But if you do it too consistently, I feel like you'll neglect a lot of projectile denial and your medic, and
I agree.
you're gonna be alternating a lot from the roof here and toxic to get ammo to keep your flamethrower or degreaser to like have your air blast. And
Mhm.
yeah, basically like when you have the point, that's your role. And if you guys have ad and they're gonna run a sack wave, play with your medic and shutter here for the sack, because spy's probably gonna be decloaking. Spy's probably gonna look for it, or like they're all gonna send their projectiles in the shutter and you get some easy reflects. Other than that, like your job is very simple.
It is, yeah. Um, on your point with detonator spam, the way I determine if I'm over spamming or not is the value I get from the spam, or if I know if someone is there to receive the spam. If I'm spamming and I don't know what's happening and I'm not hearing the bing 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 bing, afterburn, I stop spamming, and that's when I usually switch to projectile denial.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you'll get a rhythm of the game of like what they're gonna do and like what you can get away with and not get away with. But it's just like as a baseline, definitely make sure at least to keep track of that habit when you're doing it. And I guess that's a good way of like noticing when you're